Hi, Kate. Sometimes I have the same issue, so I just thought I would share a few little tips that I have found that work for me. Okay, so when I go to strip out, just like I showed on that other video, I'm just gonna, separate at the top and just pull straight up and start, gathering my little threads that I'm gonna put together. So I will, let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. So I'll just pull those straight out and set them aside until I gather them all back up. So I am currently stitching on this 13 mesh, so it actually takes 6 strands of floss. And sometimes this happens with I have these stupid stick-on nails, and they're not the most practical. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, got it. Oh, shoot. Okay, sometimes that does happen where I just get a tangle. I tell you what, it is, if I don't straighten it out the first time, and then I just go stripping another piece out, that's when I tend to get this tangled up. Okay, so I have all of my 6 strands separated, and now I'm going to put them all back together. So just move that out of the way. Line up the ends. Bear with me. Sorry, this is taking so long. So I get them all put back together, lined up as best I can. And then what I have found to be useful is when I have them all lined up, I grab them and I just run them through my fingers all the way down. And you can even see a little bit, I think, if it's picking it up. It just sort of straightens everything out, and it tends to line them all up next to one another so that they're not on top of one another. And it just smooths it all out. And I don't know if that is due to the, natural oils on my fingers, or if it's just the activity of pulling them, just pulling them through, lining them up. But I do that, 3 or 4 times until I feel like they've sort of straightened up. And so once I've done that, then I can go ahead and thread my needle. And again, a lot of times I'll do it again. I just run it through my fingers a few times. And then I can start stitching. The other thing that I'd shared on another video just to demonstrate is once you start going, doing your stitching, you can see like that one, I did not pull that through evenly. So I will give that a little bit of a tug and sort of straighten it out. And so I just stitch by stitch, really pay attention to how the stitches are lining up, or the threads are lining up in those stitches as I take them. And if I notice that things are getting wonky or uneven, I might take, a little bit of time and straighten that out. Now, a lot of people will use actually a laying tool, which is really just a fancy word for another, you can use a thin little knitting needle or even another tapestry needle to kind of weigh that, sort of hold that down to keep all those threads lined up next to one another. I do think a laying tool is a great idea if you are using stretcher bars, but I don't use stretcher bars. Like, that just does not work for me. And so because I hold in hand, it's, I'm using my other hand. I can't really lay it down in order to do the manipulation that you would need to do to have a laying tool. So I just kind of finagle it stitch by stitch. And if I'm running into issues where it looks like it's getting kind of bunched up, I will often do that little trick where I will give my needle a counterclockwise twist to just kind of take some of the twist out of the threads. So I do have to be intentional with lining everything up, running it through my fingers a few times, and then continuing to sort of, hold that down, if you will, when, so that the individual threads are laying flat one next to another, kind of like my fingers. instead of doing this, which it can have a tendency to do that, you want to smooth them out so that each of those threads is laying next to one another as much as possible as you pull those into the next stitch. So one trick is to hold it down with your left thumb, like I'm doing here, just to kind of slow it down and make sure that they're all sort of lined up and not twisted, kind of like your shoelace. So hope that helps. And yeah, thanks for asking. Thanks for commenting.